podcast about the Harvey #MeToo movement and how power, silence, and global reckoning showing key problems of abuse, power, and authenticity and authority, but also the culture of silence and fear. For decades, Harvey Weinstein stood at the center of Hollywood. He was not just a film producer, he was a gatekeeper, a kingmaker, and a figure whose influence stretched far beyond the cinema. When taking away the Hollywood aspects, such as the behind of the scenes of the glamour, the awards, the premieres, the success stories coming from other influential people, a system of power and silence was opening and operating. One that shaped careers, controlled reputations, and for many created their own environment of fear, despite being somebody that lots of people inspired to be. However, a big event within 2017 helped the system to begin to collapse. To understand the greater impact of Harvey Weinstein, we have to look at his downfall. We first need to understand the scale of his power as well. As a co-founder of companies such as the Miramax and later the Winston Company, he helped redefine independent filmmaking by themselves. These companies produced and distributed critically acclaimed films that regularly dominated the major awards, such as the Golden Globes and Oscars. He became known for his aggressive tactics and his relentless ambition, and the industry insiders described him as an imitating, persuasive, manipulative, and deeply strategic man. He could tell that his small independent film company turned into a greater phenomenon based on just who he was as a character. Winning awards wasn't just about the artistic merit that came from it. It became a carefully orchestrated campaign, and that the Weinstein was its master, and he used that for his advantage. For many aspiring actors, directors, and writers, meeting him represented this opportunity. But that same power created a dangerous imbalance where one person controls access to success. Saying no becomes very difficult. It's a big thing within actors and actresses that you think they get the roles in a very easy way, a more moral way. However, a lot of the behind the scenes shows a lot about how corrupt the system actually realistically is. Looking at the culture of silence, for years rumours circulated within Hollywood, stories of inappropriate behaviour, meetings that became very uncomfortable, and the coercion where whispers are becoming bigger behind closed doors, such as actors like Gwyneth Paltrow and Brad Pitt. Weinstein had cornered Gwyneth Paltrow at one point and very much tried to get her to do certain situations with him because she had a good few parts within films that he was making. However, Brad Pitt stopped this, and these whispers became even bigger as the situations seemed to develop. But very few did speak up publicly. The reasons were very complex: fear of losing their work, fear of retaliation from other people, and the fear of being labelled difficult. Powerful institutions often protected these influential individuals. Legal sentiments and non-closure agreements ensure silence. The industry's competitive nature reinforced the message: speaking out could destroy your career. This culture of silence extended beyond Hollywood. Similar patterns existed within politics, media, business, and even academic world. Weinstein's case would eventually expose this broader system. However, despite all of the situation, there was a big breaking point within the industry, and that was in October 2017, where investigations of the New York Times and the New Yorker published detailed accounts of allegations spanning decades, specifically with Weinstein. Multiple women came forward describing a constant pattern of abuse. These were not isolated incidents. They were revealed as a systematic pattern of coercion, manipulation, and imitation of people within power. The scale of accusations shocked the world, but what is followed was even more significant. Survivors across the globe began sharing their own stories and their own versions of what happened. Situations like this caused a lot of political activists to come forward and start their own campaign to try and get these stories to come to light, as it became such an influential thing that happened within 2017. The hashtag #MeToo spread rapidly across social media. Millions of people used it as a way to describe their own experience of harassment, sexual harassment, assault, and even workplace misconduct. Although the movement had formed in 2006 by the activist Tana Burke, Weinstein's case transformed it into a global phenomenon where more than women, just from their background, where they come from, their social status, came forward and gave their own version of how they have been treated within the system. For many, this moment represented a collective awakening. People began to recognize that sexual harassment was not a rare or isolated thing that happened often. It was a widespread and an often normalized situation, but what was more normalized was not to speak about it and be silenced about it. This movement also exposed structural inequality. Women, especially those with less power or financial security, faced a greater risk when reporting abuse. This is also, again, one of the main reasons why women have been silenced from spreading about these situations out there, that nobody would believe them. Many survivors had previously remained silent because the systems meant to protect them have actually failed. Weinstein was arrested within 2018 and faced multiple criminal charges. His trial in New York resulted in the conviction in 2020 for the rape and sexual assault. In 2022, he was also convicted within Los Angeles for separate situations that happened. For many, these convictions symbolized a turning point. Historically, powerful figures often avoided legal consequence because of their corrupt systems with the corrupt legal world. However, this was a key example and a key turning point that maybe people can come out and express what they've experienced because maybe justice will be served. This outcome challenged the assumption that wealth, influence, and status guaranteed protection. Yet the legal process also highlighted the difficulties in survivors' faces in seeking justice. Many cases are hard to prosecute due to the lack of evidence, time gaps, and also legal barriers. This raised an important question. How many cases never reach court? How many cases are thrown in the background of many different other cases because of the lack of evidence, because of the lack of motive? And seeing that is crazy. As the broader impact of the Me Too movement definitely took place within this time, as not only did the movement spread across just Hollywood, it spread across all different types of